Hello friend, welcome back. In our previous video, we are successfully seed some of the data in our admin table, right? So they have some of the demo data. Now I want to create the guard. As I told you, if you go to that Laravel, and here, as I told you, Laravel actually by default using one of the guard as a web guard. Right now we will create one of the multi-authentication system. So for the reasons here, we have to create another guard. Like right now we don't need this, and also we don't need this. If you go to the config, okay, into the config, that is one of the file as auth.php, and here you can see by default Laravel using one of the guard as a web guard. Right now that will be one of the multi-authentication systems, so that will be default for the single user. Right now we'll create that multi-user, right? So for the multi-user, now we have to create another guard. So you can see there is a guard for the web. Now I want to create another one. Better I copy it, and then I want to do here, I paste it. So that will be name. I name it as a admin guard. Okay, that will be the admin, and our driver will be session and provider name. I want to provider another name. I just name that will be as a plural, so I make it as a admins. Okay, that will be the admins. Now I name that provider name as admins. Now we have to also create that provider. You can see that is a provider by default for the user. Now I want to create new one. I copy it, and after that I paste it. So that will be our provider name. I name that provider as admins. Now I simply take it as admins. Driver will be as eloquent, and model, I have already created one of the model for the admin, right? That is in our app models, and that will be our model name as a admin. Now I want to use it as admin. Okay, that will be access our admin model. Make that sure you updated both of these. I updated that our guard, I updated that provider, and also that is a password option. Password reset here, that by default that is for the user. Now I want to create another new one. I paste it, and that will be our guard name. That means our provider name, I name it as a admins, right? So that will be as admins, and for the admins our provider will be which one? Our provider will be as admins, and table will be password reset, expired will be 60. Everything will be just like that same. Okay, here I simply updated our auth in our config auth.php. I have updated everything. Rest of this will be just like that same. Here we don't need to change anything. Great. Now if you click as a save all, everything is great. So friend, now we have to understand how actually our default authentication system work. Our default authentication system, we have already checked it, right? In our logging, into the logging, our default authentication system is working. So I want to do the same things, right? So I want to do the same things. Our default authentication is working. If you go and right now, if you're using that sublink text editor, if you press that Control P, then from we can actually get this file. First of all, I want to run our route list. Okay, by default all that route list you will get, and in Laravel 9 that is they are updated that design. So if you want to get that route list, that will be as a PHP artisan and then route, and then that will be as a list. So if you run as a PHP artisan route list, all that our default route you will get. If you now click as enter, now you can see that is all that our default route. Okay, that is all the default route as a dashboard for where exactly it's working. There is a logging route, there is a logout route, there is a register route, proper reset password, everything is in here. So for the logging, which file is actually working? For the logging, in our logging Laravel 45 authenticated session controller create method is working for this. Okay, that create method is responsible for logging that user and store the data. That is also for the logging. You can see that is all route all that list, and there is one of the post method, and that is one of the get method. So that is responsible for a default user logging data. That is one of the controller as an authenticated session controller and create. Now if you want to find out that file, here as I told you, simply press as a Control P, then you will actually be able to get all that file from here. So I want to search it with the authenticate. You can see that is a authenticated session controller. So into the authenticated session controller, that is into the vendor folder, Laravel 45 src http controller, and that is our authenticated session controller. So if you open it, That is the file is responsible for default user logging. You can see there is a create user, there is one of the create method, there is a store method, and into the store method there is a logging pipeline, and there is a logging pipeline area. There have some of the you can see there have some of the function as an attempt to authenticate and the redirect to factory authenticate. So both of these will be needed. Okay, here that is actually file. If you want to check it, I show you, like that is our guard, right? There is a guard. If you simply dd it, I read dd our this guard. Okay, I simply dd this guard. As I told you, by default Laravel using which guard? Using that web guard. In our auth.php, I have already discussed about that things with you. Now that will be more clear. If you now click as a save all, and now if you go our page right now, I'm log out, click as a refresh. Now you can see now that is a display the name, our guard name as a web. So here I have already created another one as admin. So when I access to the admin logging, I want to access another guard as a admin. Right, so that is the simple things we have to do. So I hope it's very much clear to you. So that is our stateful one of the guard. So that is one of the interface, and that interface actually comes from to the guard, and that is the main guard. You can see that is our main handle guard. So that is all the default, all that file. So you don't need to worry about the default file. You can see the redirect to the route service to the home directory. Okay, right now it's totally fine. I have already checked it. Right now it's totally fine. Perfect. So now we have to from here we have to take some of the things. We have to need our attempt to authenticate. We need that our redirect to factor authenticated for the admin. Okay, if you go to our providers, that is a default, as I told you before, into the providers area. When you install that Laravel JD stream, that is one of the Fortify service provider, and into the Fortify service provider, that is one of the register method. Right now that is actually another file. If you search with again with the Control P, I want to search with the Fortify. Okay, Fortify, and there is a Fortify service provider. You see that is a two file. One is the app providers and the Fortify service providers. Another is the Fortify service providers comes from to the vendor Laravel, Fortify, SRC, and Fortify service provider. So in here that is actually another register. You can see that is the register actually by default working in here. So there are some other guard as a stateful guards. You can see that is a two-factor authenticated, the register response binding. So that is binding all the data is gated. Okay, so that is our default file. Now I want to customize our default one. That means our main one that is in our app providers, and that is our Fortify service providers. Into the register area, first of all we have to add it. So how to do this work better? I want to continue this process. In our next video I will show you that things with a live example. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.